Hello, everybody. I am MrGamingGuitarist, and holy shit, I don't know what's happening, but *Halt and Catch Fire* season 3, episode 3. It doesn't stop. It just keeps going and going and going and going. It keeps getting better and better. And boy almighty, did I love this episode. Now, for the first time ever, I thought this was, some of you might be surprised I'm not doing this before. But what I did was, this is the first time I actually took notes on while watching a TV show, because I didn't want to make sure I missed anything. I think it's a good idea for me to just do that from now on with every TV show that I review for each episode. Just write down the list of scenes that I want to talk about. So let's get right into this and talk about Season 3, Episode 3 of *Halt and Catch Fire*. This episode was called "Flipping the Switch", and that title means a lot of things. It's a metaphor for lots of things that happen in this episode. I think that's a good title. It seems to fit. So anyways, I really liked how we get to see, and I'm just okay, here we go. So I really like that it opened up at Joe's house, and he definitely is getting up there in terms of status and popularity and power. Now, it's really interesting because Ryan, he's just this regular guy, just walking in, and then he just sees like all these people in costumes, and there was probably a lot of drugs and a lot of fucking going on in that house. Oh, by the way, I'm so sorry, I forgot to mention this. If you do not, there will be full spoilers for this episode. So if you have not seen this episode of *Halt and Catch Fire*, please watch it first, unless you don't care about spoilers. But anyway, there's your spoiler warning. Okay, so anyways, it's really interesting because you just see Joe in the balcony, and then Ryan just goes up to talk to him. And one thing that I thought was really interesting is he says, most of the people here don't even know whose house they're at. And I just thought that was great because he's reached that status where, especially in the 80s, and I guess it still happens today, but, lots of people that become famous, or people with lots of money, especially in LA, but I don't think they're in LA, but they're in California. People with power throw parties, and lots of people don't know whose house they're going to at this rich person's party. So I just find it's very fascinating that Joe has now actually entered that status. So next up, afterwards, the other scene that was memorable is I really enjoyed seeing Cameron staying there at Ryan's house, and I'm going to assume that was his brother that was there, saying, she's been sitting here for an hour. And she's saying, it's very stupid of you to work with Joe McMillan because you think you're so special when you work with him, but then later on, he will crush you, just like he crushed me, like he crushed Gordon, and just like he crushed Donna, the nicest woman in the world, and even she doesn't want to talk to him. She keeps saying things like, trust me, Ryan, this is the only pass I'm giving you. If you want to come back and work with me with Mutiny, I need you there. And they said, this is your only chance to work with here, or else I'm done. But the funny thing is, you see the doubt in his eyes, like as if he's without a doubt has probably heard all the stories about the way Joe has numerously time again have fucked over all our protagonists. But yeah, it really shows his dedication to see just how much he really wants his ideas out there. And it's a risk because we still don't know entirely if Joe's going to fully on board support him or listen to him. We don't know, but it's going to be really interesting because the way I see the Ryan and Joe relationship, I actually... Sorry, I had something in my throat. I liken it a lot to Dawn and Peggy's relationship in Mad Men, where Peggy is more of just the apprentice, you know, and she goes under Dawn's wing, just like how Ryan is now suddenly under Joe's wing. So I really enjoyed that. It's going to be really interesting, even more, to see just how their relationship works out over the course of the season. So next up, also speaking of which, we actually get to see what Macmillan utility looks like, because in the past we haven't got to see what his office actually looked like. Now we see it. And it's funny how we just see Joe just walk in with his Sony headphones, which is funny because they still make those headphones today. They're a staple. Anyways, you see him just continually just walking, listening to Paul Simon and whoever else he was listening to. It's just really neat. I just love the 80s so much, and just seeing all that hammers at home. So next up, so then we finally see that one meeting after Gordon is just messing around with the radio. Donna says, "Gordon, I want you there in the meetings." So once we finally get there to the meetings, they keep, Gordon just wants his ideas to be heard, and yet Gordon keeps making it think that Donna is just there to say, because Gordon keeps thinking that Donna just is telling Gordon all the things that he wants to hear, and he thinks that she is just saying things or thinking things that she's not actually thinking. Marriages. But yeah, it's really interesting that they are actually bringing up Tom, because I didn't think that they would bring him up again, but he's being mentioned, and and Gordon says, "We need to get the guy that wrote the original code," and then he says, "No, he didn't make it. Why?" And then it's really interesting how Donna says, "It's none of your business," and Gordon uses that as fuel for the fire for them continuing to argue. But man, when he says, "Jesus, Donna, I only screwed her once," that was like moment. Because, Bosworth and Cameron, they didn't know about that he fucked that one woman. He just the way he just puts it all out there, it's really quite the... They're in a lot of shit. So anyways... And so so it's interesting that I believe her name is Julie, the investor that is helping Donna and Cameron buy out Swap Meet. So Donna had lunch with her, and she didn't get drunk, but I would assume she got buzzed based on the way she starts speaking in Bosworth's office, the way he just handed her the thing and handed her the offer for Swap Meet, and says, "Oh, look what I did. I did good today, didn't I?" So, acting like that. I thought that was a really well acted, really great scene between the two of them. But then Bosworth said something where he says that Gordon might not be exactly good, but he's done a lot worse. That's a great line. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, okay, so next scene I want to talk about. Okay, so that whole meeting with the board members at Macmillan Utility, I just loved seeing the shock on Ryan's face. And Joe, it's like he keeps pushing him to say, "Why wouldn't it be free?" And then the rest of the board members just laughing at his face, saying, "Oh, we're not really going to make it free." But then Ryan says, "But he said it was going to be free." And, it's funny how Joe doesn't tell him to say it, but you could just see in Joe's face, he wants Ryan to say, that we need this to be free. We need this. If that's what you want, you should have pushed for it. And... and you could just see the confusion, the dilemma that Ryan's going through, that they're going to be charging $14.95 per month for the antivirus software. And it's just... that was a really great scene. So next up... Okay, so Gordon apologizing to Cameron, I thought that was a really good scene, too, because, you don't really get to see that much of those are the two characters where they don't really have just scenes together where it's just those two by themselves. So it's really interesting to see those two working together in that scene. But I really liked when he's apologizing to her and Cameron just says, "Oh, you're not going to start talking to me about your wife, aren't you? Because I don't think I can handle that." That was delivered great. But then she also says, "Oh, well, when are you going to move out?" That was another really great line. And then he just says, "Why do you have all the mugs in the house?" That I enjoyed that scene. As you can tell, I fucking love this show. So anyways, okay. So then Bosworth looking at the swap meet offices, and then you notice how quiet it is and how they don't answer the phone. So he wants to lower and lower and lower the asking price for the purchasing of the company. And it's just so funny how he just rips that off and says, this company's only worth $400,000. But then again, I think Julie here might only be wanting to pay $325,000. But he said, but it's so funny. He said, but I thought you said $400K. He said, nope, $325,000. And he kept lowering and lowering. I thought it was so funny. But of course, in the beginning of that meeting, you got to see Bosworth talk a lot about sports. They were talking about baseball, and it's funny how you see a Los Angeles Rams flag over there when now we have the LA Rams again. Now, okay, I'm not a football fan, I'm not a sports fan, I don't watch sports, but I know that the LA Rams are a thing that's happening now, so it's just a kind of a neat callback because we're in 1986, and now 30 years later, LA Rams are back. Whatever. Anyways, just an observation, since Swap Meet is a sports company where they're trading things back and forth. That's the thing I wanted to point out. Anyways, but that one conversation that Jolie and Bosworth had, did I sense am I the only one that sensed a connection with the two of them? Because Jolie's getting divorced, and Marjolie and Bosworth, are those two gonna fuck? I think they might. So next up, so I really liked how when Ryan came in there, and then he says you should have made it free, and Joe said, well, why did you say that at the board meeting? And then I really liked when Joe said, I believe in it to be free, but I have a board, and I've got investors. And Ryan looks pissed off. So, yeah, that was really funny. And also, so then later up, we get the scene where Joe talks to Cameron for the first time, their first meeting, what is it gonna be like? But it's funny because you would think, oh, is Cameron gonna be mad? Is Joe? Are they gonna be mad at each other? Are they gonna yell? But I just like that the first thing he says is, "What? No kiss this time?" This motherfucker. That was a great line. So then but it's funny how at the scene before that we actually got to see Joe coding, and at the first I didn't think much of it, but then it's like, oh yeah, he is going to the college because he's a student for coding, and it's funny seeing Cameron's response to it saying, well, I never would have thought you, the great Joe McMillan, to be a coder, but he said this one thing that I thought was great. He says, I might not be great at it, but I'm not unteachable. And then he says, and then I love how just Cameron just looks at him and says, you might be going for this whole Zen master thing, but I'm really not buying. And she just walks away. And then Joe says, you don't have to buy it, Cam. I'm giving it away for free, when we know his punk ass is not giving it away for free. So, or is he? We don't know yet, because he says that to the board, but then again, is selling it for free something that he actually wants to do? We don't know. But then I also like how the episode ends with Joe telling Ryan, pack up your bags, and makes him think, oh, he's gonna get fired. Nope, psych. He just says, I'm going to, from now on, you're going to be working with me at my place. And it's like, oh shit, this is going to be good. This reminds me a lot of season 1 when Joe and Gordon were reverse engineered that IBM PC in Gordon's garage. It reminds me a lot of that, except Joe's house is much bigger and much nicer. So I can't wait to see that, what that's going to look like, because we still don't know, because Ryan says he's got a lot of ideas, but we don't know what those ideas are. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing it continue. And I have to be honest, once again, I have no negatives for this episode. I can't think of anything to nitpick about. It's just, I don't know if there's other guys that are really critical of this show that don't like it, but I love this show. There are no flaws. It's so good. I love the storylines. I love the acting, the scenes, the direction, the style, the art. I love it so much. And if I haven't got hammered that on the nail enough already, I love Halt and Catch Fire, and this episode was no exception. This is this is a 9.5. But it's like, and yet I can't give it a 10, or maybe I will give it a 10, but it's like, the way I set the standards for this show have been set so high that I just can't, I can't give every episode a 10, but this is so solid and so well done that it's a 9 out of 10. So let me know, what did you think of this episode? Please tell me in the comments below, and I will see you, and let me know, what are your thoughts for the next episode? Oh, by the way, I do not like to watch previews for the next episode. Like, once they said next time on Halt and Catch Fire, I did not watch that, so I make sure to stop it on my DVR and erase the episode, because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any previews for the next week. So I know, like, don't try to spoil, but I just don't want to risk anything. I want to go in completely blind, knowing nothing. So anyways, yeah, those are my thoughts. I'm Mr. Gaming Guitarist. If this is your first time watching me, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on my future Halt and Catch Fire reviews. And also, I have a Patreon page which you can support. I'll appreciate it. But once again, if you don't want to, if you don't donate anything, it's cool, I understand. And also, you post the videos on the N4G TV YouTube channel, where I have a weekly podcast, but because of Labor Day weekend, we're not having a podcast this week. We will be having something else on that channel. And also, I've been playing the Battlefield 1 open beta with Keanu, who is over there, and he's currently recording his album, which is the noise you hear in the back. But anyways, so yeah, be on the lookout for more Battlefield 1 open beta videos. But anyways, that's all I've got to say about this episode of Halt and Catch Fire. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you for next week's episode. God, I think this might, if they keep this track record up, this just might be even greater than Season 3, which is funny because Season 2 is already the quantum leap ahead of Season 1. So anyways, whatever, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching if you made it this far, and I will see you on my next video. Goodbye.